Welcome back, YouTubers. I am Jason Worsmith. That is Gregory, and this is the best damn fantasy football channel on YouTube. This is Tanker's Fantasy Football, and we are going to get right into some early 2019 top 15 running back rankings. It's never too early. Like the Patriot way, we are talking about no days off here at Tanker's Fantasy Football. We're going to get it popping. You know, I had Gurley penciled in as my number one, undeniable sex the last 2 years. Going in 2019, had him as my number one. But man, these last couple weeks of the regular season into the playoffs,
he just looks like a completely different guy out there. I mean, I understand he's hurt, but
he was clocked as the fastest person on the field in that Super Bowl. So that's a weird, they're throwing in a weird wrench in the situation. I understand that there's no way that he's probably not a little bit banged up. I mean, if he isn't banged up, what the hell is Sean McVay doing?
I don't know, because I was just very confused about the amount of C.J. Anderson that I was seeing out there.
I mean, C.J. Anderson was doing well early on, but C.J. Anderson wasn't doing anything versus the Saints and the Patriots, and he still kept trotting him out there. He's playing, more snaps. I mean, what, Gurley have like five touches or something versus the Saints? It was absolutely insane.
If that's going to keep happening, I mean,
I don't think that's anywhere to keep happening. I don't think that's my main concern with him.
Yeah.
It's like Cooper Kupp went out, and then this offense, evaporated out. They went from scoring like 5-6 touchdowns a game to barely squeezing out 2.
And I don't know why. I mean, I didn't think Cooper Kupp was. Cooper Kupp's good. I didn't think he was that big of a deal.
I mean, it has to be part of the deal, but there's no way that's the whole deal.
I don't know if Goff just lost confidence and
Goff, started to regress out there in front of our eyes. But I mean, my goodness. Gurley is a touchdown guy. Like, he's eaten from these 20 touchdown seasons.
Yeah.
And if they're not scoring, 4, 5, 6 touchdowns a game, it's going to hurt them a little bit. And there's some fierce competition in the top 4 or 5 running backs going into 2019. So I've bumped him down a couple spots. I'm leading it off here at number 1 with Quan Berkeley. And the only reason why he's not undeniable sex number 1 because he plays for probably the worst team of the top 4 or 5 running backs.
Yeah, I also have Saquon at number 1. He's just 91 catches.
Yeah.
Just crazy.
I mean, look at this. He didn't go under 20 PPR points until week 10, people. That's insanity. Led all NFL running backs in total scrimmage yards out there. Had only 2 games under 14. Had 14 PPR points and lower. So only 2 games under 14 or lower on the season. 12 games over 20 PPR points. 4 over 30.
It just seemed like with Saquon, the catches were always there and that big play. There was always one big play from Saquon a game that's,
like the Bears D were shutting them, shutting all these running backs down, shutting down Gurley, shutting down Dalvin Cook. Who else the Bears go out there and just shut? I mean, Ben Berkeley went out there and put, 100 rushing yards on the game because he had one, 50, 60-yarder late in that game to help him seal the deal and beat the Bears. Like I just said, his yards, he led the NFL running backs in scrimmage yards. He had 13 of his 16 games, 100 scrimmage yards or better.
What else are you looking for?
That is so sexy deluxe. I mean, he was still able to get 5 yards per carry behind that filth puke garbage offensive line.
And I mean, even if that gets better, even if Eli is the quarterback, or if they draft Dwayne Haskins or somebody like that, I feel like Saquon's gotta be number 1. He's just so good.
I mean, yeah, like you said, 91 receptions. He had 700-yard rushing game, so it wasn't all through the air. He was getting it going on the ground as well.
Definitely. All right.
Who you had number 1?
I also have Saquon.
Saquon? All right. Rocking and rolling.
Yep.
The only thing I think you can push Saquon off the mountain in full point PPR is McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Because his usage, the Norv, he's still down there calling plays.
He's just...
Nobody's on the field more, percentage-wise, than Christian McCaffrey. It was insanity.
It just seems like other than Cam Newton, he literally is their offense. Like, they're looking to...
He got like 95% of the running back touches on the season. Like, that's unheard of in this day and age. Like, that's completely insane.
Every team's got, at least one backup that they use in a decent amount.
I mean, he had 11 of 15 games, because we're not going to count that week 17. They didn't really play him but a few snaps. So we're going to give him that one off. He had 11 of 15 games, over 20 PPR, 9 of which were 26 and better.
That's
430 PPR plus out there. I mean, he was as dependable as it gets.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean, I also have Christian McCaffrey at second.
Oh,
just because he's just so good.
I mean, I said Berkeley had the 2 games 14 or under. McCaffrey had 3. So, a little bit, give him the Saquon nod on that one a little bit.
One thing that looks better for McCaffrey is definitely just the team as a whole. I mean, the Panthers in general are just so much better than the Giants.
But his low water mark, like I said, he had the 3 under 14. That was like, or 14 and under. It was like 13.7. His low water mark on the season was 13.5. Yeah. And that was in week 1. So after that, week 1 was his low water mark. And from then on through the fantasy season, he was your sexy boy deluxe.
All right. Number 3, I got Todd Gurley, number 3. I couldn't let him go any lower than that. Just how dominant he was on the ground. Even though he started to tail off towards the end there, I feel like he's still got to be top 3.
Oh, yeah. I still got a little bit more McCaffrey sex to ramble off, though. It's all good. It's all good. 107 receptions on 124 targets. That's unbelievable production. He had almost a 90% catch percentage out there. I know running backs get higher catch percentage than any other position, but still 90% is very ridiculously high, except for that incredible amount of volume that he was. I mean, 2 games, under 5 receptions on the season. Only 2 games. 5 under 5.
Unheard of for.
I mean, when's the last time a running back had over 100 receptions? I think Tomlinson had like 100 in like 04 or something, if I can remember right. I had him on my team. I think Tomlinson had 100 in like 04 or 05. It was a year or 2 years before that season when he set the touchdown record. He had that 100 receptions.
Yeah, that's definitely unheard of.
Yeah, 6 games with 7 or more receptions, and 3 games with double-digit receptions on the season. So if we're talking full-point PPR, he's just eating out there.
That's a good game just based on catches alone.
just eating, just absolutely destroying. All right, now we can get sexy and move on to number 3, baby. And we get a little bit of dispute here because I do have Elliott at 3 over Gurley with this current. I have Gurley at 4, Elliott at 3 with this current shitty situation going on.
Yeah, I feel the one good thing about Zeke is, I mean, obviously the yards were there, the touchdowns weren't there, and you got to think that that's got to go up next year, right? I mean, he's got to be scoring more than what, 9 touchdowns he had on the year. I'm pretty sure that's got to go up. You got to think that.
Yeah, he only had 6 touchdowns on the ground. You know who also had 6 touchdowns on the ground for the Cowboys? Dak Prescott.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
That's crazy. I mean, his touchdowns got nowhere to go but up. And he started off slow, though. 1 game over 20 PPR in the first 8 weeks. So, you're thinking you spent the first 3 or 4 picks on this guy in 2018 moving in. He's kind of putting a bad taste in your mouth in those first 8 weeks. All these other guys are blowing it up. Kamara's out there blowing it up. Melvin Gordon's out there losing his mind. Oh, and you drafted Elliott probably over those guys, and you're a little bit testy.
Well, yeah, definitely. But then it was just always consistent, and the points just started coming in after that.
Oh, yeah. At the second half of the season, the next 8 games, he had only under 19.8 PPR twice. 25 receptions through his first 7 games. 25 receptions in his first 7 games. And only 2 games with 5 receptions or higher. But in that stretch when they brought in Amari Cooper is when it all started to come together and not only get sexy for Dak Prescott and Amari Cooper, but also sexy for your boy Zeke Elliot as well, because he had 52 receptions in the final 8 games. He had 25 in the first 8, 52 in the final 8. That is over double.
That's crazy. Just
Completely insane.
Yeah, they had that. Before there was no real wide receiver presence, so everybody knew Zeke was their whole game plan. Once Cooper came, just.
But those little fade dump offs that they like throwing. He only had one game in the final 8 games of the season under 5 receptions. Zeke Elliot, a guy coming in where you're like hoping and praying he can get to 35, 40 receptions on the year. He goes out there, plows it fist on there, 77 because he got 52 in the second half of the season when the Cowboys finally got their shit together.
Yeah.
And I mean, they made a huge playoff push. The Cowboys were written off. They were 3-5 when they brought in Amari Cooper.
I definitely did not think that they were going to do what they did. I'm not going to lie. I thought they were a bad team that did not have the hope. But then they turned it around on them.
Yeah, I mean, he had 11 of 15 games with 100 or more scrimmage yards, and he had 100 more scrimmage yards in every week from weeks 9 through 16. Every week. And then they didn't play week 17 because they were holding them out for the playoffs. That's why only did the 15 games. But every week after they got Amari Cooper, he had over 100 scrimmage yards and over 5 receptions every week but once.
That's crazy.
Like, that's eating out there. And that's why I'm giving him the nod. Because if he can continue that second half of the season and how poorly Gurley finished the season, I think I'm going to give him the nod here.
I mean, it was pretty hard, but I could definitely see it. But I just couldn't do it to Todd. I had to put Todd Gurley above him.
Elliott also had the same amount of 100-yard rush games as Berkeley with 7.
Yeah, that's...
I'm not arguing. I mean, I'm loving me some Zeke Elliot, baby.
Zeke had what, 1,434?
I think moving forward, we can write him down for 60 receptions every year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why not.
I mean, he has proven that he is a very, very effective receiver out of the backfield.
Those dump-off plays will always be there.
So Gurley at 3. You had Gurley at 3.
Yep, Gurley 3.
I got your boy Gurley at 4 because I just had, this is like the tier 1,
Yeah.
And you got tier 2. These guys are still first-round draft picks. These guys are still sexy deluxe.
Lock him in running back 1. Forget about it.
But I think Gurley is just, a step above these guys that we're going to be talking about between 5 and, say, 8 or 9.
Yeah, definitely. I would agree.
I mean, the guy didn't score under 20 PPR points until week 11. Barkley didn't score under 20 PPR points until week 10. Gurley didn't score under 20 PPR until week 11.
Yeah, Gurley was looking really sexy those first 11 weeks of the season.
He only had one game under in single digits that he played, and it was versus the Bears when he had the 8.8. Week 14. The Bears, like you said, Bears shutting everybody down out there. Except for Barkley had a couple late plays to really pad his line.
Gurley was just a touchdown machine out there. 21 in the year. That's crazy.
I mean, a lot of these other, Barkley had 4 games over 30. And McCaffrey with all those receptions, he had 4 games over 30.
Yep.
Gurley had 7 games over 30 PPR points.
That's winning you 7 games.
I mean, that's why you say like maybe this guy is still number 1.
Yeah. I
mean, you say these things, and then you're like, what the hell is going on here? But man, I mean, I think if you're talking dynasty, you're talking keepers. I think right now is buy low on Todd Gurley.
Yeah.
Everybody's souring. Everybody watched those playoff games. Everybody has got a sour taste in their mouth.
Now might be the time to
Now might be the time to get in. It might not be the only time.
Yeah.
I mean, you're still going to have to pay the piper, but you're probably not going to have to pay number 1 player in fantasy land piper.
Yeah, I mean, you might be able to get a deal out there.
You might be able to give him, sweeten the deal with one of these back-end top 10 running backs and throw a little extra, and maybe you can steal him now.
And then, who knows, maybe he'll go off, we'll be wrong, and he'll be easy number 1 running back next year.
I mean, you think about it. Maybe James Conner an extra, maybe Joe Mixon an extra. Maybe that gets him right now. And if that can happen, you got to go all in on that.
Yeah, you definitely got to be doing that. All right, we're at number 5 then. I got Alvin Kamara out there, number 5.
I also have Alvin Kamara at number 5.
he's
I think Ingram's leaving town for it. First of all,
if that happens, that could be huge for Alvin Kamara because I feel like that's what held him back. It seemed like once Ingram came back, they stopped running the ball as much as him.
Oh, you look at added up his first 4 weeks before Ingram came back. Divided that shit by 4. Get an average.
Yep.
Talking about 34 PPR point average without Mark Ingram on the field. That's ungodly averages.
Yeah, that's that's crazy.
That's craziness. I mean, that is absolutely craziness. And we're gonna week 5. We're gonna erase week 5 because he was a little banged up. Yeah. Mark Ingram, they came in, they game script. Peyton game scripted him out. It was all Mark Ingram. So we're gonna give him week 5 off. Yeah. Week 6 was the bye. So week 7 and on, that's 10 games. The 4 games to start, and we're going to do the 1 game off. Then the bye, we're going to do the next 10 games. He averaged 21.1 PPR points. So that's a 13-point drop-off. But that is still sexy top 5 deluxe.
And that's with another running back out there that you can
playing at least 40 to 45% of the snaps.
Yeah.
Mark Ingram was on the football field.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, if he's leaving town, then that'd be great for Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, 8 games over 20 PPR. He had 4 games over 30, so he's got the same amount of over 30. But a lot of those, 3 of those 30 burgers were those first 4 weeks, though.
Yeah.
3 of those 30 burgers were out of those first 4 weeks. So he started hot and then he cooled off a little bit.
I thought it was crazy that he didn't end up rushed for under 1,000 yards in the season. I thought that was crazy. I figured he only got to 883 rushing yards.
He was still, he never let you down, though. The only week he let you down was week 5. Other than that, that was his only single-digit PPR performance on the season, was that week 5.
Crazy.
I mean, he's still out there loving you sexy. Just a little bit of, averaging 34 the first 4 points. You thought you had 06 LaDainian Tomlinson out there. He was just eating. He was your everything. He was your love. And, then it went down to 21 the last 10 weeks. And, got a little soft on you. But that's not. I mean, you think you can, with Mark Ingram out, you think you can take that 21. You can bump it into that 24, 25 easy. And then that gives him a shot at number 1 overall.
Oh yeah, he could definitely pass some of those top tier guys that we were talking about. If Mark Ingram leaves, and I could definitely see it happening.
He had 8 games over 100 scrimmage yards, 1 at 99. So fuck it, we're gonna give him 9.
We'll give that to him.
We're gonna give him 9. Out there. Other than that, week 5 was his lowest yardage in the game. Other than week 5, his low yardage in the game was 87.
It's pretty good.
But it's all through the air, though. He only had 100-yard rushing game on the season.
Yeah. Like I said, the 883 rushing yards and then the 709 receiving yards. Crazy.
Yeah. His scrimmage yards, over, that's 1,600 scrimmage yards. But, only 100-yard rushing game on the season. I don't see any way that doesn't go up next year if Mark Ingram's out of town.
Yeah, definitely. Even if Mark Ingram stays, I feel like that's got to go up.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that might just be maybe a fluke situation. But he was just eating it through the air. He was just finding the end zone like no other in those first 4 weeks. That might be his best stretch of his entire career, which is fine because it's an amazing stretch. But I think this guy's easy top 5 coming into next season.
It's all about the game and how you play it.
All right, who you got at 6? I got Melvin Gordon at 6.
I also have Melvin.
Melvin Gordon, baby. We're feeling it out there.
Great minds.
Only under 20 PPR twice in his first 10 games. played, not including that London game where he was like a mysterious kind of inactive out there.
Yeah, those London games.
I mean, people like he might, this and that, but then it was like all of a sudden at like 6 in the morning he wasn't playing anymore.
Yeah.
A lot of people were sleeping and lost on the trigger on that one. I, on the other hand, was on that. You gotta wake up. If any inklings at all, you set your alarm 15 minutes before game time and you make that move.
Luckily for me, I didn't have any situations like that, or I probably would have overslept and missed that 8:30 as well. but he was. In
the weeks that he was under 20 PPR that I was talking about in those first 10 games, he had 19.3 and 16.4. So he was still out there, not letting you down whatsoever. But he did finish the year kind of shitty though.
But yeah, he only played 12 games, but he had the 940 rushing yards, 52 catches, and 504 receiving yards, and touchdown machine, like you said. If he could stay healthy a little bit more next year, he's got to be up there. He's got to have a great year.
He had 7 of his first 10 games. He had over 100 scrimmage yards. He had 300-yard rush games, 14 touchdowns through week 12. So he was grinding out there. He was finding that end zone. He was on his way to like a 18, 20 touchdown season if he would have played all the rest of those games.
I feel like he may be in a little bit of a Todd Gurley situation where he was playing, a little hurt, so wasn't playing up to his full potential. That's why he had some shitty games there at the end.
I mean, his touchdown percentage is like the only thing that kind of freaks me out a little bit. He was out there scoring touchdowns. He was scoring 3 touchdowns in games where he was only touching the ball 15 times.
Yeah.
He had 12 touches one game, he had 2 touchdowns. He had 20 touches, he had 3 touchdowns. He had, 15 touches, he had those 3 touchdowns that I just talked about. I mean, that's
madness.
That's an unbelievable touchdown percentage. I mean, they're just feeding him the rock, and I mean, I guess he kind of did that the season before, and maybe that can look to continue, and I am down with him as my 6th guy. I mean, I'm giving him the nod over Le'Veon Bell that I have at 7.
I have, I got James Conner at 7. I couldn't.
Ooh, I went Bell, then Conner.
I went Conner, then Bell.
I couldn't bring myself. I mean, Le'Veon Bell, we don't even know who he's going to be playing football for. Who's your guess? Saying it's the Colts, and who else you got?
The Colts would be, I feel like a good team for him would be somebody like the 49ers or somebody. The Colts would be a good team for him.
I don't know if the 49ers would really be able to sign. They got a lot of money tied up in Jerick McKinnon.
What about some Jets, maybe?
I think the Jets said they weren't going to look to break the bank on him, though, so he's going to have to come off it in the way he's acting. I don't think he's in any mood to come off of anything. He might sit out another year if nobody tickles his fancy out there.
I mean, I understand what he's doing.
He fucked himself. You never leave $14.5 million on the table. I don't care who you are. I don't care.
With those amount of touches he was getting, the way the NFL goes, he could have easily gotten hurt, and then he's never getting that deal. But he may have just fucked himself, and now he's never going to get that deal.
It's going to take a lot for him to make up. I mean, that $14.5 million. I mean, I don't. He thinks he's going to get like $30 million guaranteed. I don't think he is. I don't think he is.
I don't think he's looking for crazy. I think he's just looking for like multiple years of guaranteed high money. Like the 4 years, around $20 million guaranteed, something like that.
If he thinks he's going to average that $14.5 million what he was supposed to get last year, I think he's out of his damn mind.
Yeah, I
think they're looking to push the needle. I think they're looking to get him for like 9 or 10.
He's gonna have to. He's gonna either have to prove himself or and take one of those short contracts, and then try and break the bank, or I don't know. But
this is probably his last big dog contract. He's moving in. He's like going to be like 27 years old moving into this season. So if he signs a 3 or 4 year deal, this is going to be his last big dog.
Yeah. I just feel the talent there is definitely still there. Even though we haven't seen him play football for a year, the talent's undeniable. I mean,
that's why I got him at 7. I mean, I couldn't, without knowing who he's playing for, I couldn't give him the nod over his sexy boys like Kamara and Melvin Gordon And who knows? Maybe this guy comes back and he's top 3 again. Who really knows? But I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm just not winning a whole year off football. The only thing I can say, if he does go to the Colts, I mean, that Colts offensive line is looking very sexy deluxe as of late. So if he goes there, we might have to catapult him back up in that top
Colts,
5.
though, I don't know. I mean, I really like what I see out of Marlon Mac.
That's the only thing.
If I'm the Colts, I don't know if I pay him, all that money when I got Mac.
I think if I was the Colts, I might want to spend a little more money on some defense. Maybe get a second wide receiver out there. Opposite Ty.
That's what I would be looking for. I feel like
because you got that Mac on his rookie deal, so you got him. He's cheap right now, so you got championship window situation. You got to have good players on the cheap to win titles out there.
Definitely.
I mean, if that's not the Patriot way, I don't know what is.
And I mean, Colts.
They're like, here's your deal, take it or leave it. And then these players go out there, and everybody's so damn afraid that they're like, just like a system player. Like the Patriots made these guys good, and they're so afraid to break the bank on them. They end up crawling back to them and signing the goddamn line.
The Colts, though, all 4 of their Super Bowl appearances have been in Miami. Next year's Super Bowl in Miami. Who knows? Could be Colts Super Bowl.
Oh my goodness!
Throwing it out there.
Some juju. Bad
4
juju.
Super Bowl appearances in Miami. It's a little weird.
Is that every time there's been a Super Bowl in Miami? It's gotta be close. I mean,
It's
Miami's a very good Super Bowl location.
I don't exactly.
I'm sure Miami's hosted more Super Bowls than anybody else, probably.
Yeah, I'm not for sure. If that's all.
What we got on James Conner? You got him at 7.
I got him at 7. I couldn't even put Le'Veon above. I couldn't even put James Conner above Le'Veon, just because James Conner stepped into that Pittsburgh offense and looked great out there.
And he finished 6th in PPR. We started off so sexy with 34 PPR, and then he had 3 straight weeks of kind of down, kind of a decline, which is kind of like your only buy low moment on the season for him. Because after that 34 in week 1, he went out there, he got you 19, 14, and then 9 in week 4. So these owners might be like, we are kind of, maybe he is who we thought he was, kind of thing. Maybe you could have got him on the cheap there going into week 5.
Yeah, and then, he's got I had him at 973 yards, 55 catches, almost 500 yards receiving, and 13 touchdowns in only 13 games. So, I just going into next year, if he can stay healthy.
Yeah, I mean, if you did buy low going into that week 5, over his next 4 weeks, he averaged 32.7 PPR points.
Just eating
out there. That's first 4 weeks Kamara eating out there for a 4-game stretch.
Oh yeah, definitely.
He had 34.5, he had 28.9, he had 38.2, and 29.3 in a 4-game stretch. Woo!
Just eating.
I mean, that's good action. The only thing I'm worried about, the sky's kind of falling in Pittsburgh a little bit out there. Antonio Brown's, he's leaving town, it looks like. Le'Veon Bell's definitely out of town. And
Juju's looking great out there.
I mean, it's Juju and it's James Conner, so I guess if their piece of the pie gets bigger, you gotta be feeling good about it.
Yeah, it could be looking for more touches.
I mean, maybe the problem is maybe maybe 1 or 2 more drives a game stall out, and they don't end up scoring on a drive because they didn't convert on like a 3rd and 7 because they're missing these key guys. But you got to think if the piece of the pie get bigger, you got to think the production has to at least stay the same, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how can it go? Again, it'll be going down if the piece of the pie gets bigger.
Especially since he only had the 55 catches. I mean, that could Antonio Brown. That could go up. They could be looking for more dump offs to James Conner. A little more of that action could definitely happen.
Yeah, the 13 touchdowns in the 13 games, so he's out there. He's grinding. Yeah. He did, he went soft and he was hurt. He missed the entire fantasy playoffs, so that left a real sour taste in a lot of people's mouths out there.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely fucked you there in the playoffs.
So, me, I mean, what are you thinking? You thinking you're staying, James Conner's probably going late first round in 12-team leagues. He has to be.
I mean, if you could get him...
I mean, if we got him at the 7 hole, or I got him at 8, you got him at 7.
I got him at 7. If you can get him late first, early second, that's a win in my book. I mean, he could, end of the line running back.
Would you I'm staring at my 8, I'm staring at my number 9, I'm staring at Joe Mixon, and now I'm kind of a little bit leery. Do you definitely take James Conner over Joe Mixon next year?
I would. Just Joe Mixon.
I think, I guess you have to.
I got Joe Mixon a little ways down the list. I don't know.
You got him down there? Oh,
I mean,
got
not
my
too
baby
far
Joe at 9. I love me some Joe. Who you got at 9?
I got David Johnson at 9.
David Johnson at 9.
The talent.
All right. I like David. Clinton, Iowa represent. That's
Yeah,
only
baby.
20 minutes away over the Mississippi
Yeah.
River.
The only thing that's a little scary about him is just that
He has
team.
one more year of sexy deluxe NFL production. That Clinton sign's going to start saying home with David Johnson,
yeah.
baby. I'm surprised it doesn't already.
Honestly. But yeah, the only thing that scares me about him is the Cardinals are so bad. I feel like Rosen is the worst quarterback out of those 5 rookies that were drafted first round. I don't think Rosen's going to be any good.
I think he is the worst of them all. I think you got to give the nod to Allen.
Definitely.
Definitely Baker. He's number 1.
That's not even a question.
I think it's the race. I think it, Darnold even turned it on, looking sexy out there.
I mean, I didn't see anything that I liked out of Rosen.
Even Lamar Jackson's out there doing his thing.
Yeah, I mean the throwing wasn't there, but he's winning ball games.
You can develop that. If you can get Lamar Jackson to throw for 200 to 250 yards a game, you're going to win a lot of football games.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But
look, David Johnson, finished 9th in PPR.
Yep.
And he scored over 16 PPR 7 times, which is that's pretty good. But he only was able to do that 1 time without a touchdown. So that's as touchdown dependent as it gets.
he only had 940 yards rushing. He had 50 catches and 446 yards with 10 touchdowns. But a lot of that is just because you're playing the Cardinals. Why don't you put 8 in the box? I mean, what?
And then those, in those games where he wasn't scoring a touchdown, he was only averaging 11 PPR points.
Yeah.
I mean, that's hurting.
Yeah.
For a guy you probably drafted 2nd, 3rd overall?
Yep. That team is just...
I mean, we drafted him the big money. We took Elliot over him on just a limb, and my goodness. Ended up winning money.
That worked out.
Ended up winning money because Elliott finished the season.
Thank God we both had that David Johnson stock.
Yeah, I had some David Johnson stock. I was like, I already got some Quentin Iowa representing.
I also had some David Johnson. I didn't want to go too David Johnson stock heavy.
I figured this is my last chance at some Ezekiel Elliott at 3 overall, so we went in on it. It went Gurley, Bell, thankfully, and then we got Ezekiel Elliott. Good thing that guy didn't mess around and not take Bell, because that would have been the worst.
Carried us through them playoffs.
He did.
Baby.
He was our boy. All right, from Joe Mixon, I got him at 9. You got David Johnson at 9.
Yep, I have Joe Mixon at 10.
I got David Johnson at 10 as well. So we just flip-flop that out there. Mixon finished 10th in PPR. He played the 14 games. Half of his games, 7 of his 14 games, he had 100 scrimmage yards of offense. So he's getting it done. He's a big part of his offense.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Bernard was not pushing up nearly as much as everyone was afraid of.
No.
I mean, he was out there. He was eating 10 with 15 or more, 10 games with 15 or more touches, 6 games over 20 PPR, 3 games single digits, 8.1 or low. 8.1 as a low water mark. So he had 3 games in single digits, but his lowest game was 8.1 PPR points. So that's hurting you, but it's not necessarily killing your entire week.
He had 1,168 yards on the ground, 43 catches, 296 yards, and 9 TDs in 14 games. Which
9 TDs for a team like that.
Yeah,
I mean, that's almost as good as Berkeley having, like, what do you have, like 13 or 14 touchdowns for a team like the Giants out there.
Yeah.
I mean, Joe showed us something this year. He went out there, he had that shitty 3.5 yards per carry in his rookie season, but man, he came out there and he was running hard.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a pretty big guy. He's like 6'1", 225, 230, and he makes some cuts out there. And he shakes some boots in the backfield. Like so many dudes, the Bengals offensive line sucks. Dude in the backfield and Mixon, the dude doesn't even touch him.
Yeah.
I love me some Joe Mixon. That's why I gave him the nod over Clinton, Iowa, at the number 9 spot. Even though I love me some David Johnson.
It's all about the game and how you play it. All about control.
I had a hard time debating Joe Mixon and Nick Chubb, honestly.
I got Chubb at 11.
Yeah, I also have Chubb at 11, but I thought about it for a while.
I really tried to get Chubb in my top 10. I really wanted to, but I just couldn't. I
couldn't do it. Jay.
I feel like his 3 big games. I started looking at it. Those 3 big games, those huge games where you loved you sexy. Those games were against like the worst 3 run defenses in the league. We're looking at Oakland, we're looking at Atlanta, we're looking at Cincinnati.
Yeah.
I mean, those are some terrible, garbage, awful offenses. He went out there, he ripped them apart. At least he was able to do that out there. I mean, it was a lot of his points were padded from those 3 games, though.
Well, I mean, he did have those 3 big games, but going into next year, I feel like it'll be different because he started out the year behind Carlos Hyde. He wasn't even number 1 going into the season. So we're going next year. It's obviously going to be all Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb on the way, baby.
Yeah, when he took over, he only had 1 single-digit week after week 7 and on after he took over. So that's some solid production. He's if he can just start going up in those getting that PPR, getting those receptions a little bit more.
Yeah, I had him at 996 yards, 20 catches, 149 yards.
Yeah, see, 20 catches, that's not really, that's not too, I know he didn't play the full 16 games, wasn't a full 16-game starter running back. That's still well under 2 receptions.
I mean, you got to think with Baker Mayfield, you got to think that's going to go up next year. It has to. He's got to have more than 20 catches for 149 yards in the season.
I do love him. I had a little argument with myself about Kerryon Johnson or Nick Chubb. I got Kerryon Johnson at 12. Ooh. A little sneaky. I know it's kind of leaping, and I know it's hoping, but damn if he didn't look good.
I personally do not have Kerryon Johnson on my top 15.
You don't have him in the top 15? See, all right, we got some serious discussion here. I love me some Kerryon Johnson. I love him.
He did look good. I mean, I can't deny. He was a really solid running back last year.
In every game, they let him touch the ball at least 14 times. He had at least 13 fantasy points. A 13, 20, 25, and a 17.7. And that 20-pointer was even without a touchdown.
Kerryon.
I mean, he was getting his touchdowns vultured by Blunt. He was getting his catches vultured by Theo Riddick. And he was still out there being a very sexy RB2. He was still out there grinding.
You mentioned Blunt and Riddick. That was why I had a hard time.
Blunt's out the door.
Blunt's out the door?
Blunt's gone. No more Garrett Blunt.
Theo Riddick will still... For some reason, they really like that Theo.
He's not. I know he's not necessarily going away, but I think Kerryon, he's a good receiver. I think we can get hit. I think he can get 40, maybe 50 reception. If he can do that, I think he can be top 10, baby.
I mean, I could definitely see him finishing top 15. I mean, he's not on my list, but I could easily see him finish that strong running back too, solid running back too.
I mean, he had 5.4 yards per carry on the season. He only had 2 single-digit PPR points in those 10 games that he played. And that was, like I said, with LeGarrette Blount and Theo Riddick all up over his cheese. They were all up over his cheese. And he still only had 2 single-digit PPR weeks in his 10 games that he played this season.
And you said this is number 12, right? I have Dalvin Cook at number 12.
I got Dalvin at 13. All right, baby. Now we're getting a little bit back on track. I'm a Kerryon Johnson believer.
I mean, like I said, it's not that I don't think he's a good running back. It's just a tight top 15. Just didn't make the cut for me.
It is tight. It is tight. We got Dalvin Cook, and I don't know. I could see Dalvin even losing out to the guys I got ranked at 14 and 15 easily.
I don't think Kirk Cousins is any good. So, he could hinder their offense. And
you guys, let's say he was finally healthy, like week 12 or whatever it was, versus the Packers.
Yeah. I only had him play him in 11 games last year. So.
In that stretch, he only had under 15 touches once. After they fired their offensive coordinator, after they started focusing on the run, he was actually fully healthy. He went out there and touched the ball at least 15 times in 5 of the last 6 games. And that's a sign of sexiness. And he had double-digit PPR in all of those games. He didn't have any single-digit PPR performances in the last 6 weeks.
Yeah, that's crazy.
He came on, he finished strong, but
the talent is there. The injuries.
The injuries.
That's first rookie year got hurt. Last year got hurt. Can he stay out there? It's one of the big questions.
I think you're going to be able to get him at a value out there, though. I don't think a lot of people are going to probably have him in their top 15.
Yeah. He had some fumble issues last year.
Yeah, they burned a lot of dudes out there with it. They burned a lot of players out there, drafted them in that late first round last year.
Oh yeah, that was.
Where are we at? I'm on 14. Where you? You're on 13.
I had 13. Sonny Michel.
Sonny Michel at 13.
Yep.
I got Phillip Lindsey. I'm at 14 because for some reason I'm ahead of you a little bit.
Well, I
because Kerryon snuck in.
Yeah, Kerryon snuck in. And then for my 14, I have Marlon Mac. I am a Marlon Mac believer. I think that he's going to be there.
You got Marlon Mac at 14. I got some Phillip Lindsey. Is he in your top 15? No, didn't make the cut. The only thing that scares me off Lindsey, new coaching staff. We don't know what Vic Fangio is going to be about. But man, if you look at this production, I want to ask you, how many receptions did you think Phillip Lindsey had on the season?
It was probably right around that, like 35, 40, 50, somewhere in there. Probably.
Oh, we're getting a little wavy here. That's a big range. But
I'll go 35.
It is 35, exactly.
Wow.
Cash money. All right. But, I thought you were going to say like 50, because when I looked at it and I saw 35, I thought that was kind of low. I thought he was more of a, I thought he was more eating out there, because I only had him in the 1 week. He was getting, I thought he was catching more than the average in a little over 2 balls a game. I really did. But
the thing that hurt him was, they had the Freeman, and then they had that bum cock, what was his name, Devontae Booker.
Yeah.
For some reason,
I think that's done. I think Vic Fangio at least pulled the plug on the Devontae Booker train.
I'm all right with some Royce Freeman snaps.
I hope so.
So Devontae Booker was getting ridiculous.
But you look, and Phillip Lindsey, weeks 1 through 14, before he got banged up, and before he ended a little bit sore, he had the 2 single digits, week 15 and 16, and then he didn't play in week 17 with the injury. But if you look at it, weeks 1 through 14, he only had single-digit PPR 1 time, and it was in that game that he picked a fight against the Ravens and got kicked out in the second quarter. So he was eating.
Yeah. You got to fight sometimes.
The only game he scored in single-digit PPR in the first 14 weeks was him fighting. My goodness. He's out there. He's getting it done. 10 total touchdowns.
Pretty good. I think there should be more fighting out there, by the way, though. On a different note.
I think we could see more catches, fewer touchdowns next year. What do you think?
I think it could happen. It could.
I think we get that receptions up to 50, and maybe those touchdowns go down to like 7. So that's pretty even push.
Yeah.
It's giving 3 points. It's losing 3 points.
All depends on how Fangio, what he's going to do with that. How How much is he going to give to Royce Freeman? Is he going to be, like if it's like 75-25, or are we talking?
He was
like
doing a lot of
60-40?
production with not a lot of work, though. He only had 20 touchdowns twice, or 20 touches twice.
Yeah, that's crazy. All right.
He had 8 games over 15, 3 PPR, 3 games over 20 PPR. So he wasn't doing a lot of destroying for you, but he was like the best RB2 there ever was. He was eating out there. He was getting touchdowns.
Yep.
He was getting mad yards.
I picked him up in a couple of leagues, that's for sure.
All right. Who'd you have at 14?
14, I had Marlon Mac.
Marlon Mac. What you got,
Yes.
Marlon Mac, baby?
I got Marlon Mac had 1,102 yards. Only had 19 catches, though, for 109 yards. Had 11 touchdowns. I mean, that Colts offense is going to be running smooth. I think that 19 catches is going to
when you said that shocked me a little bit, too.
I definitely would have thought that he would have had
I thought he had at least 30.
Yeah.
I thought he'd be in that Phillip Lindsey range, but man.
He didn't even start.
I mean, Hines is out there.
Yeah,
Hines is out there vacuuming. He's their damn Theo Riddick.
Yeah. Hines was their sexy boy there for a couple of weeks in the beginning.
He was. There was a moment when you could have sold Hines as an RB2, and about week 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Before Marlon Mack really got his feet under him and started grinding out there.
And I just feel like going forward, they're going to look to, even though they got that passing game, they're going to look to get Marlon Mack established to help that passing game out a little bit out there.
Oh,
I
yeah.
couldn't leave him out of the top 15.
Yeah, if Bell stays out of town, and Marlon Mack comes into the training camp as the clear-cut number 1, I mean, I think he is top 15. I mean, if you're talking, who's to say Marlon Mack doesn't outscore Dalvin Cook?
Yeah, Dalvin Cook or
Kerryon Johnson. I got Sony Michel at 15.
I have Leonard Fournette at 15. I had Sonny Michel at 15.
Giving Fournette I had Fournette on the bubble play with the Mac. And who else I got on that bubble play? The Mac, the Fournette, the Aaron Joneses of the world.
Maybe the Chris Carsons.
Chris Carson. I thought I had one more on the bubble.
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry, yeah, that ass chops.
Also,
they're coming out today talking about Derrick Henry is going to be a vocal point of the new offense out there.
Well, also, Devontae Freeman could be coming back. And, he could be... Yeah, if we're going into before last year...
I'm done with him.
You're done with Devontae. No Devontae.
I'm done with him.
I think he could be... If he could stay healthy, he could possibly...
I think he's in my top 25, but, man, I really would have to push to get him in that top 20.
Yeah. But with Fournette, though, he just looks so good his rookie year, and then he only played 8 games this year if he could stay healthy.
Yeah, he had a falling out with the front office. I think that's been recouped and everything, but man, that's the only thing that pushed me off of him, and I had to give guys like Lindsey and Kerryon and Sony Michel the nod, because I think about myself, if somebody offered me Leonard Fournette for Kerryon Johnson in a keeper dynasty league, I would decline that.
Yeah.
I would decline that offer, and I wouldn't even think about it. It'd be an easy decline.
Yep.
Sony Michel, Sony's problem is PPR. Sony only caught 7 balls on the season.
Yeah. The Patriots, they got he was definitely their rushing running back. And then they bring in, either the James Whites and the sexy Rexy Burkheads.
If you include the playoffs, Sony Michel had 280 carries for 1,267 yards and 12 touchdowns. If you include the playoffs.
That's great. She could have been Super Bowl MVP.
That's insane. He had 209 of which for 931 and 6 touchdowns in the regular season, with half his touchdown coming in the 3 weeks of the postseason. But I don't think that's doing anything but driving his value up right now. I think if those thoughts are still in people's minds come draft season, I think we could be seeing Sony Michel getting drafted in the early to mid-second.
Yeah.
I think he's a little too rich for my blood. Because I play a lot of half point, full point PPR. I don't play a lot of standard. I mean, you're looking at standard, Sony Michel is an easy top 10 guy.
Yeah. I don't really play a lot of standard either. I think all my leagues are a full point PPR.
You know, in weeks 13 through 15, you look bad taste in your mouth. You had 8 PPR points or lower out there. But, man, do those playoffs bring your keeper value and your dynasty return it up to baby. He's got a spot on my team moving forward. I know that.
Yeah. Craziest thing, as I'm looking at the list as a whole, the amount of rookie, or the second-year running backs now, but the amount of rookie running backs that are on this list is just...
Yeah, I got 2,
Saquon,
3, 4.
Connor, Chubb, Sony Michel, Marlon Mac. There's a lot of rookies out there. Rookies getting it
5. I had 5.
Yeah,
5 second-year guys. Oh, there's a lot of rookie love last year.
Yeah, that was a great crop of running backs that just came in through the draft. And
it also just kind of shows you how the shelf life of running backs kind of sucks.
Not a lot of veterans.
All these second, third, fourth-year guys are all in this list, man. We don't have... Le'Veon Bell is like the only guy that's not a second, third, fourth-year guy.
Just crazy. You get dudes like LaShawn McCoy go from being easy top 15 to now he's...
I mean, Gurley and Elliott, they're fourth-year guys, right?
Yeah.
Fourth-year guys. So anybody, Le'Veon Bell is literally the only guy that's over 4 years.
Yeah, that shelf life, dudes could just fall off the face of it like...
Well, David Johnson's going to be year 5.
Yeah, David Johnson.
David Johnson's going to be year 5.
But David Johnson didn't start his first year, so I mean, he doesn't have as much.
Yeah, he missed his entire third year. So there's still a lot of tread on them tires. We just got to figure it out in Arizona.
If they can get a line together.
Just run the Wildcat. Let's go.
Can't do any worse than what their offense looked like this year.
Let him run it. Let him catch it. Let him pass it, baby. All right. You like the cut of our jibs? Hit us a subscribe. Hit us the share. Give us those comments down below if you think we nixed the guy that you love, you absolutely think deserved to be in the top 15 that we gave the bone to. Hit us in those comments section below. Do not be afraid. We'll get into some steady football arguments out there, boys. I do enjoy me some football.
Always, baby.
All right. Let's crank that cheeseburger. Cheeseburger.